Yes guys, how's it going? Welcome back to Your Football Predictions, the series where we try and predict all of the upcoming weekend's Premier League football. Those were my scores for Game Week 3. I didn't do very good, to be honest. There were some tough games to predict. Manchester United beating Liverpool, West Ham losing against Brighton, Newcastle drawing 3-3 against Manchester City. But as always, you guys did better than me. Thank you to everyone who got their predictions down in the YouTube comments. I'll put a whole load on screen now. And thank you to everyone who got involved in our online mini league. I will leave the link down in the description. It's called Superbru. There is no sponsorship here. It's just something we use to get our predictions in. And it was Mr. Right who won the golden hat this week. You certainly were Mr. Right this week, and you were the winner for Game Week 3. So as I say, get your predictions down below for Game Week 4 in the YouTube comments, or feel free to head over to the online website, or it has an app as well. It's just a great way to get your predictions in. There's a little league. It's good fun. Get involved. I am posting this a little bit later in the week than I normally like. Posting this on the Friday, ready for the Saturday, isn't great. I normally post it on the Wednesday or the Thursday. So sorry for being a little bit late, but I will be doing this series throughout the entire Premier League season every week. So make sure to subscribe if you like prediction videos. Get your predictions in down below. Subscribe so you do not miss a video every week. And I'll be back on Monday, because we have midweek games next week. Loads of football, and I'll be doing it for the World Cup when we get to that as well. But let's get started with the 12:30 kickoff tomorrow, Saturday. Southampton taking on Manchester United. Southampton currently sitting in 11th place after the first 3 games. They lost one, they drew one, and they won one. Quite interested to see how Southampton do this year. Haven't really strengthened as much as maybe I think they possibly should have this summer window. They are for many one of the favourites to go down this season, but have started off pretty good. Got their first win of the season at the weekend against Leicester. Were in fact losing 1-0, but Che Adams got himself a double and they won 2-1 against Leicester. Taking on a Manchester United side who are sitting in 14th, sitting lower than Southampton right now, which is not what I would have predicted 3 games into the season. But we did know that Ten Hag was going to have a tough job this season, but he's made it a little bit better with a win against Liverpool at the weekend. Losing their 2 opening games against Brighton and Brentford was not expected. Beating Liverpool was not expected either. Rashford had a great game. Ten Hag took the decision to drop a few players that probably needed to be dropped, and the players that he played proved him right. So I have backed Manchester United to get another win here, 2-1, but it depends what team turns up, to be honest. If they're not bothered again, who knows, maybe Southampton can take the 3 points here. On to the 3 o'clock games now. We have got Brentford taking on Everton. So Brentford with a pretty decent start. Drawn 1, won 1, lost 1. They did lose against Fulham at the weekend, which I think they will be disappointed with. Losing to a promoted side. But let's not forget, they beat Manchester United 4-0 not too long ago as well. So a bit of rough, bit of smooth, but sitting in 8th place, top half of the table after the first 3 games. I think they'll be happy with that. Taking on Everton, who will not be happy, sitting down in the just outside of the relegation zone in 17th place. Lost the first 2, drew against Nottingham Forest in their game at the weekend. I think they'll be disappointed with that, to be honest. Having lost the first 2 games playing a promoted side, I think they could have or should have seen that as a chance to get the first 3 points, but they're all over the place. The only real threat that I think they've got going forward is Anthony Gordon, and he's linked with a £60 million move to Chelsea this summer. Whether that's going to go through in time, I'm not sure, but going into this one, I've backed Brentford. I've gone 2-0. I think they've looked the dangerous of the 2 sides. I mean, people have Everton down as a relegation contender. I don't think they'll go down. I think Everton will be okay, but they need to turn things around quick. Really, they need to go out and spend some money. But that isn't going to happen. So we'll wait and see. But yeah, I've backed Brentford 2-0 in that one. Next up, we've got 2 teams who have started the season well. Brighton taking on Leeds. Brighton sitting in 5th after 3 games. Leeds sitting in 3rd after 3 games. Brighton winning 2, drawing 1. Leeds winning 2, drawing 1. And both won their games at the weekend, and both tough games as well. Brighton beating West Ham, Leeds beating Chelsea, and not just beating Chelsea, they smashed Chelsea. They ran them off the park, and very, very deserved of that win. I'm hoping to see plenty of goals in this one. I think it could be a tough, close game, but I'm backing it for a thriller. I've gone 2-2 in that one. Next up, we've got Chelsea taking on Leicester. Just mentioned Chelsea. They will no doubt be disappointed with their loss against Leeds at the weekend. They've won one, they've drawn one, and then they've lost one against Leeds. As I mentioned, taking on a Leicester side who really aren't doing very well. Sat in 19th place at the moment. Drew their first game, but have lost the last two games I mentioned earlier. They were 1-0 up at the weekend against Southampton, but lost 2-1. Chelsea, they're going for it at this summer window. They're bringing in players, as I've mentioned. Sterling's already come in. They're linked with Anthony Gordon. I don't think they're done yet. I think Chelsea will bring more players in before this window ends. And although many people had Chelsea as being the side that maybe wouldn't compete this season, I think they'll be disappointed with that loss against Leeds, especially in the manner it happened. But I still think they will be fighting for a top spot this season, certainly for a top 4 spot. However, taking on a Leicester side who haven't started well, and I still think Leicester have got a good enough side. I think everyone's got a good enough side, so who knows what's going to actually happen down in these relegation zones. I can't imagine Leicester finishing there, but where are they going to finish? Is top 10 a good result for Leicester? It's just after those seasons where they won the league, they had Champions League, they had the Europa League Conference, they haven't really strengthened. They've just kind of slowly gone down the table. And is this the season where we now see them kind of finish in a mid-table spot? Could well be. And because of that, I've backed Chelsea to win it. They're at home. I think they've just got a better team. I've gone 2-0 Chelsea. Now then, we've got Liverpool taking on Bournemouth. Liverpool have not had a good start to the season, drawing their first 2 games, and then, as I mentioned, losing against Manchester United at the weekend, sat in 16th place. Have they already given Man City the title? I'll say no, because it's such a long season. Anything can happen. They've got to play each other still. We've got the World Cup in the middle, but my God, it is not the start to the season I expected Liverpool to have. Drawing with Fulham opening day. And then I did say against Manchester United, it's 2 big rivals. It was at Old Trafford. I had a feeling. I backed the draw in that one. But Manchester United did one better and went and beat them. And Liverpool need to turn things around quick. Mane going. Nunes coming in. Klopp's got to get this team working. Taking on a Bournemouth side who had a great start with a win in their first game of the season. Have lost the last 2. Lost against Arsenal. Obviously conceded a few in that game. I've backed Liverpool to make their comeback. I've gone 2-1 Liverpool. I think Bournemouth will probably give them a good game if Liverpool play the way they have been. I think Bournemouth will see that as a chance to really get at them, really go for it. I think Scott Parker has got this team working well. But how can you not back Liverpool? You've got to back them, but if they play the way they have been, then maybe Bournemouth will show them how it's done. And the final 3 o'clock kickoff, we have got Manchester City taking on Crystal Palace. So Man City sat in 2nd place, still yet to lose a game, won the first 2, drew their last game against Newcastle 3-3. 6-goal thriller, great game. Newcastle were 3-1 up at one point. So although Manchester City might be disappointed they couldn't win every game this season, as I'm sure they set out to do at the start of the season, they were able to come back and take a point away from home after being 2 goals down, and they are just that good. They are really good. Some of the goals they scored, the Gundogan one, obviously Haaland got the goal in the back of the net as well. That was just pure reactions inside the 6-yard box, but the ball through to Bernardo Silva to get the 3rd was tremendous. And they're taking on a Crystal Palace side who have had a decent start, sat top half in 9th place, where lost 1, drew 1, won 1, got their first win against Aston Villa at the weekend. But I'm going to back Man City. I'm going to back Man City for a win in this one. I've not actually wrote down my prediction, so it'll be on screen. But it will be Man City win, I can promise you that. That's my prediction, I should say. I can't promise the result. Who knows? Crystal Palace looked good in their game against Aston Villa, so maybe they can close something here. But yeah, you got to back Man City. It's just the way it is right now. Now then, on to the 5:30 kickoff on Saturday. We have got Arsenal against Fulham. So a London derby. Arsenal sat in first place. The only team to win their first 3 games in a row, have won all of their games so far, and as I mentioned, beat Bournemouth at the weekend, taking on a Fulham side who are sat in 7th place. They are still yet to lose this season. Drew the first 2 with some great results, as I mentioned, the draw against Liverpool opening game, and then got their first win of the season against Brentford at the weekend. So I think this one could be quite a good game. I do expect Arsenal to win. I think Arsenal have looked really good this season, so I have backed them for a 3-2 win. So I have put a lot of goals in there. I think Mitro will certainly give them a run for their money, and I think it's similar with both teams. I'm very interested to see how Arsenal do over a full season. I think they've got some fantastic players, some fantastic young players, but I'm still really interested to see what happens if Mitro goes and scores and Fulham are 1-0 up. And it's not going, because so far everything's going Arsenal's way. They've looked great because they're on the ball, they're high confidence, they're flying. You know, if Mitro goes and scores and suddenly their backs are against a wall, I'm really interested to see how they can kind of resolve those problems. And I still think they could potentially do with, you know, somebody else to come in and really kind of grab all these kids together. You know, someone like a Tielemans to knock some heads together and go, look, we can power through this. But I think Fulham could give them a little bit of trouble, but I think I'll back Arsenal for the win. On to the Sunday now, and the first 2 o'clock game, we have got Aston Villa taking on West Ham. So Aston Villa sat in 13th place, lost 1, won 1, lost 1, lost against Crystal Palace at the weekend. Steven Gerrard is coming under quite a bit of criticism at the moment. I've actually seen links to him or fans saying that potentially he's not the man for the job. It's tough. I would say that the Premier League's a tough league, and for any manager, you will have highs and lows, and I think that he is going through a bit of a tough spell at the start of this season. I would say it's potentially a bit early to kind of move him on just yet. I think he is certainly getting some good football out of Watkins, who's looked really good to start the season. I think obviously Bailey scoring for them throughout the week in the League Cup as well. I think Danny Ings is a great player. I think there's more to come from Steven Gerrard, so I think it's too soon, but obviously football is a results game, and Gerrard says it himself, he needs to put points on the board. They are, however, taking on a West Ham side who are doing even worse, sat in 20th place, the only team to lose all 3 of their opening games, lost against Brighton at the weekend, and no doubt David Moyes is under a little bit of pressure as well. There is huge links to him going out and buying the Brazilian player Lucas Paqueta, a great international, could cost them up to or as much as 60 million. They've already brought in Skamaka to try and give a little bit more attacking outlet as well, and they bought that young Chelsea lad as well, didn't they? The defender. So they are going out, they are spending money, he is being backed, but he's going to have to turn things around soon. I'm not really going to please either set of fans with this one. I've gone 1-1. I think it's a tough one to call. I think potentially West Ham might be happy to take a point away from home after having got no points so far. I think Aston Villa will probably be looking at this as a chance to get 3 points on the board against a West Ham side who are clearly not in form at the moment, but I have backed the draw. And the second game at 2 o'clock on Sunday. Now this one's on TV. It is Wolves taking on Newcastle. So Wolves have not had the greatest of starts. Sat down in the relegation zone at the moment. 18th place after 3 games. Lost against Spurs at the weekend. To be fair, I thought they did okay in that game. Not the greatest. I mean, they don't have a lot of attacking threat at the moment. They only really just lost that game though. On another day, they could have probably put the ball in the net and took something from that. But a loss, a draw, a loss. And if I'm not mistaken, haven't won in 9 or 10 Premier League games. If you include the end of last season, they haven't won for a very long time. Taking on a Newcastle side who have started the season far better, sat in 6th place at the moment after the first 3 games. Still yet to lose this season. Won the opening game against Nottingham Forest. Drew against Brighton away, and then, as I said, drew against Manchester City as well. So I would potentially say that the odds will be pretty even, You could potentially put Newcastle down as the slight favourites, but I still think Wolves are a very good side, and although they haven't started well, doesn't mean that they can't switch it on when they want to. Wolves are another team who I think could really go out and could do with bringing in some extra players. Newcastle will be hoping that their new player, Alexander Isak, will potentially feature this weekend against Wolves. If I'm honest, I think it'll most likely be Chris Wood up front. Eddie Howe doesn't like to throw players into the deep end, as we saw with Bruno, as we saw with Botman, so I imagine it will most likely be Chris Wood up front, which could potentially suit Wolves, because Chris Wood doesn't have a lot of energy or a lot of pace, but he can certainly put the ball in the back of the net. He scored in Newcastle's League Cup game throughout the week as well, so it'll be interesting. And I have backed the Newcastle win, but I've backed a very slight one, a 1-0. Newcastle to continue their good run of form and make things a little bit worse for Wolves, but I think it'll be close. I think a draw wouldn't be too far out there. I think a point away for Newcastle would be a decent result, but I just think after how poor Wolves' form has been, haven't won in that amount of time, I'm hoping a draw at the least for Newcastle. So let me know your thoughts on that one down below. And to finish things off on the Sunday at 4:30, we have got Nottingham Forest taking on Spurs. So Nottingham Forest, the promoted side, sat dead in the middle of the league, 10th place. And I think we'll be pretty happy with their start to the season, especially after losing their first game against Newcastle United. Got a win and then a draw against Everton at the weekend, I think is a very decent start for a promoted side, but they will have to be on top form as they take on Spurs this weekend. Another team still yet to lose. They have drawn one and won two. As I mentioned, beating Wolves at the weekend, sat in 4th place right now, and I'm sure that's a position Spurs will be hoping to finish in this season. Who knows? I mean, some people are backing Spurs to challenge for the league this season. It would be great to see maybe one or two other teams really getting involved this season rather than the Liverpool versus Man City. And could Spurs be the team to do that? We'll have to wait and see. Conte has really got this team well drilled. Kulusevski is brilliant. I watched him against the Wolves game, just so good. Obviously, Son and Kane are a great duo, but Kulusevski, he just gets the ball in. He's getting the ball in the box over and over and just giving Kane the chances, and it's working for them. And I have backed them in this one. I've gone 2-1 Spurs. Nottingham Forest at home, I still think, or on the promoted side, have got that bit of buzz about them, have got that bit of feel about them. And, you know, after a good start, and they've started to bed in some of these new players as well, maybe could give them a game. I mean, I've given them a goal, but I have ultimately backed Spurs for that one. And there you have it, guys. Those are my predictions up there for Game Week 4. Be sure to get your predictions down in the YouTube comments below. Or as I mentioned, if you want to get involved in our little online mini league, no sponsorship there. It's called Superbru. I'll leave the link down in the description. There's also an app as well, which is quite fun to be able to put on your predictions and, yeah, just enjoy it. So, as I say, football this weekend, and I will be back again on Monday, ready for the Premier League midweek games. I will be doing these predictions all season, so as I've mentioned, subscribe if you haven't already. If you're still watching and you want to be updated on my predictions every week, be sure to get involved. It's always good fun. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the football. Predictions down below, and I'll catch you later.